Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. And we have been waiting so long for the Scream 7 trailer, but unfortunately we have not gotten any news yet about the trailer and if it is coming out or not. And at this point, we're really just assuming if it's going to come out or not. And today I thought, since we are getting into the Scream 7 Reign of Terror, that I think we can finally start talking about Scream 7. And to kick it all off, we are going to go back and talk about why I think Ghostface is the pinnacle of horror movies, or in better words, the best horror movie character / franchise of all time. And this will bring us all the way back to the 90s. As we all know, horror was at its absolute lowest in the 90s. It was still making movies. However, none of the movies from the 90s weren't doing as good as they were performing at the box office in the 80s. The 80s was just like everything horror and action and stuff like Back to the Future, or maybe even Terminator and Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, all of those great films. So the 1990s was pretty empty on horror films. People started to forget about them, and they were slowly but surely dying. Until 1996, where the only Ghostface slashed his way onto the big screen and made history. Ghostface, the icon, is one of the reasons that horror is in its current state. As you guys all know, Conjuring Last Rites is going absolutely crazy at the box office right now, with over $187 million in its opening weekend worldwide. And keep this in mind, one of the reasons that The Conjuring is doing so well, one of the reasons why it is doing so well, is because of Scream as a whole, because Scream reinvented the genre. It resurrected horror and brought it to its absolute highest, higher than it ever was in the 80s. And that's all because of the character known as Ghostface. Many people, when it first came out, were absolutely shocked when Scream came out, because Scream was unique for what it was, and it still is unique. Killing off a big named actress in the first 5 minutes of a film was absolutely crazy, and people thought that Casey Becker, Drew Barrymore, was going to be the original final girl, but it ended up being Neve Campbell. But because of that, people fell in love with Scream, because Scream wasn't really afraid to do anything. There are certain limits that Scream won't pass, but the first movie, they didn't have any limits. However, they did almost get an NC-17 rating, so they did have to cut down on nudity, I believe, and some of the gore. But either way, because of Scream and how crazy and unique it was when it first came out, people started falling in love with horror again. And now here we are with Scream being one of the most successful horror movie franchise of all time, racking up almost, or I think over, $500 million in the box office, with less than a $100 million budget of every single film combined. So it's crazy how much Scream has evolved, and with that, the character Ghostface has evolved. And one of the reasons Ghostface is in the top for me is because he like redefined what horror was, in my opinion. I watched Halloween, I watched A Nightmare on Elm Street, I watched Friday the 13th. Man, I even watched all the Conjurings in like 2 days, including all the spin-offs like Annabelle and The Nun. Or, no, The Nun wasn't out at the time. But it was crazy. And then when I first watched it, everything in my head snapped. And it all changed. My view of horror movies changed because of Scream. And because of Scream, I'm influenced to become a horror enthusiast. And because of Scream, I want to be a director, and I want to succeed in life as either a director or an actor. And Scream is the only reason I think of this. Scream, and just Wes Craven as a whole, inspired me to start making films. Because it was about kids or teenagers that were obsessed with horror movies, and upped a notch and decided to take it to a whole nother level and actually start killing people because of horror movies. And just that on its own was crazy. People like Jill, they did it for fame. People like Matthew Lillard, they just did it for fun. And they all were unique in their own ways. And just these characters and how special they were, how Scream really evolved over time, character-wise, character development. Characters got a lot better over time, sometimes, if we're not really including the radio silent stuff. They're still pretty good, though. But basically what I'm trying to say is that Scream has inspired me to do so much, and that's why it is my favorite franchise of all time, because Scream is, it's like my home. Ghostface is like my home. Ghostface, and just the character itself, the design of the character, the fact anyone can wear the costume, it's shocking. Like, if you're comparing Ghostface to Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees, most kids dress up as Ghostface without even knowing who the character is, because that's how big of an icon Ghostface is. He literally changed horror for good. And now, because of Scream, we have all of these great films like Get Out, or The Conjuring, or It. And the reason those movies make money in the box office now is because of Scream resurrecting the horror genre and bringing it back to its old roots. And, well, not really bringing it back to its old roots, but kind of just changing the genre for good. They did a lot of risks in the first film, but it ended up going overboard, and everyone loved it in a great way. And Scream has just been up there for me ever since. And Ghostface himself is just iconic. Like, if I'm comparing him to Michael Myers, I grew up with Michael Myers. I grew up with Jason Voorhees. But Ghostface stole the spotlight for me. It's the way he kills, the way he's motivated, and it's the possibilities of what can happen as a Ghostface. The possibilities, the actual kills themselves, the mask. The mask is what does it for me. It's such a simple mask, but it reinvented the horror genre, and now Scream has officially been my favorite franchise for the past 5 years, and I'm just saying this right now, Scream is the only, or one of the only reasons that I started this channel. He's the mascot of my channel. He's the mascot of my collection. He is horror for me. And without Ghostface, there wouldn't be no Cruel ZV. There wouldn't be Horror Talk Tuesdays. There wouldn't be Scream Things podcasts. There wouldn't be Cruel Reviews. None of these would exist if Ghostface didn't exist. But Wes Craven came up with the idea, and now we are officially here. And the only reason I've built up this channel is for Wes Craven and Ghostface. Wes Craven is one of the only reasons that horror has now stuck out to me, because he made A Nightmare on Elm Street, and then he made Scream. And those two franchises are amazing in every single way. And Wes, one of the reasons that Scream and Ghostface is my highest on like my list of favorite slashers or horror movies is because of Wes Craven himself, his direction towards the franchise, and overall Scream dedicating itself to making fun of horror movies sometimes, and Scream just overall showing its love towards horror movies. Like, that's what makes Ghostface stick out. Movies are just movies, but Scream makes them more than movies. That's another reason why Scream and Ghostface are my two favorite things, because they really make it feel like it's not just a movie, with Stab being inside of the franchise, Halloween being inside of the franchise. All of these things happen in the franchise, and it really shows that Wes Craven cares about horror movies, and that Ghostface, the character, cares about horror movies. And that's really my explanation for why I think Ghostface is the best horror character of all time. Now, I'm sorry if my reasons suck. I'm low-key kind of tired, I guess. I mean, I had school, and I'm also kind of exhausted from making videos already. I mean, guys, did you not see what I've had to be doing? I did Horror Talk Tuesday yesterday. I made a video yesterday. I made a video on Monday. And I did a podcast on Monday. That's 4 things in 2 days. 5 things now because of this. So, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and if you are excited to see more Scream 7 content or Scream-related content, please give me your feedback. And this was Cruel ZV, talking all about horror movies, especially Scream. Keep in mind, I will be doing another podcast episode featuring Our Life in Horror in 2 weeks on September 22nd. And on September 23rd will be the annual second stream for Horror Talk Tuesday. It was a fun experience yesterday, because it's more just join if you want type of thing. It's just a fun chat. It's not about one topic specifically. So if you guys do enjoy that, please give me your feedback. This was Cruel ZV talking to you. Bye!